Hello everybody. Good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. Good evening. I'm not sure what it is there. Oh. Let me turn some sound off over here. There we go. Had multiple sound going on here. All right, so I know you can hear me, so that's good. I had to make some changes on my speaker settings because I was getting a lot of feedback, so I took care of that, but that means that I can't hear anything. So, which I don't need to hear anything. I'm talking, so that's all I need. Hello, Anne and Dawn and Melina. Good to have you guys here. Let me switch over to Facebook. So it's raining here in Missouri. Yes, Anne, you're in Belton, and it's raining there as well. And it's a cold rain. It's not, one of those nice spring rains. No, we're still having this ridiculously cold weather. And they say next week we might get some warmer weather, so we'll see. I sure hope so, because it's one of those days when, like last week, I just cannot get warm. It's just so cold. So cold. I wanted to make it a jammy day, but I couldn't. I couldn't come in my jammies to you guys. Come on. So, yeah, besides Sunday, I made a jammy day, and I just lazed around all day long. So I don't need to do two of those in a week. One's plenty. One's plenty. So, oh my goodness gracious. I am ready for this one today. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, I think all my projects are fun, so, that's just me. That's just me. I hope you guys are ready for this one. That you've gotten your line drawing over at lanalamb.com, and we're going to take it step by step. I'm doing the mixed media part today, but I'll give you the instructions verbally if you want to write them down for painting the flower. So we'll take care of that when the time comes. But today is all about mixed media stuff. So love doing mixed media. I don't do it a whole lot because there's so many other artists out there that do mixed media. So, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I might do a mixed media project. But I really love doing them because you get to really play around with different things and be creative and step out of the normal lines of decorative painting. Just let yourself go. So I like that about it. So hello, Holly. How are you? I am going to make me a small up in the corner up here. All right. Here's what we're painting today, you guys. This daffodil, mixed media daffodil. Now I've just got my paper taped on here to show you what it looks like painted if you want to paint it. But I'm going to be doing the paper part today to show you how to do that. So this is where we're going with it, and it's going to be a lot of fun for this project. Okay, so I've got mine to this point here. This is not glued on. I'm going to show you how to glue it on. So I've just got my initial base coats on here, and I'll tell you how I did all of that when we get to this particular surface here. But we're going to start right here. Now, can you believe that this background started with this light blue color here? Well, it did. It did. So I'm going to show you how I did the background. I'm going to be using my paint roller, which I have soaking in water. So it should be completely full of water right now. It's been soaking for well over an hour while I've been busy doing other things. We're going to be doing some stamping, and so I'm going to show you all of those things here in a moment. But we want to start with the background here, the simple plain blue background. Now, you can have your background any color that you want. So this is a pretty light color. You can go with this color or any of the other colors that I use within the background. I think those colors are listed in the instructions, but I'll go over them because we're going to be doing them. All right, so I've got my roller. It is really full of water. I want to make sure it's wet clear back here to this edge because I will be using that edge for paint because we're going to triple load this roller. Triple load it. I'm going to squeeze all the water out of it. And get a paper towel and squeeze it some more. I only want it to be damp. I do not want it to be full of water. If your roller is too full of water or too full of paint, it will splatter everywhere. And it'll bubble, your paint will bubble up, and that's how you know you've got too much moisture or too much paint or both in your roller. So what I do in that situation, because I've done it many times, get in a hurry and not remove enough of the water or put way too much paint in my roller, I just go to a paper towel and squeeze it out. And if I need to get a second paper towel, I will get it because damp is all you need it. Okay? All right, so my background color here is Shoreline. I better shake these up. I did not shake my paints up today, so I've been sitting over there in my basket for a few days. So I want to get this color on my palette because I want to fill my roller up with this color first. And then we're going to put our other two colors in on the background. So I'm going to load my roller. Probably need more paint than that. A lot more paint than that. Oh, okay, that might have been too much. Alright, so I'm really going to work that paint into my roller so it gets pushed into the roller, like if I was painting the surface. Okay? So it's completely full of that light color. So we're going to put two more colors of paint out on our roller here. Hello, Kathy. So this is Perfect Perry. Love this color. It's purpley blue color. And then I've got Victorian blue. Alright, so we've got, hopefully I put enough paint out here to demo this background. This is just a piece of kind of cardboard stuff. It's about the thickness of a cereal box. It's not very thick. So I've painted it with the Shoreline. So I've got the base color of Shoreline all in my roller here. So I want to put this color on the end of the roller. I still want to keep that in the middle. And then I'm going to put this on the outer edge. Load some in there and just work it into that roller. So that you can see all three colors on the roller right there. Okay, that's triple loading a roller. You can just double load it or just, you know, use one color. It's up to you. So I'm going to be doing like a slip slap technique is what I call it with the roller. So you're just going to come in here and start very gently laying in some color, going different directions. That's why I call it kind of slip slapping, because I like to go different directions. Okay, I want to keep the purple kind of over this way and the dark blue more over this way. So when I go over to this edge, I might tilt it up and give more pressure to that blue side and let some more of that blue go on this side. I still am trying not to overblend. Now I'm giving more pressure in the middle so I can release a little bit of that base color. That's going to help me blend it a little bit. Where I want the darker color, I'm going to tilt up and use that darker side. And where I want more of that Perry color, which looks almost purple, I'm going to tilt up this edge and push down on this edge. So it's very easy to do, and anytime I want to start blending, I'm going to push on the middle so that I can release some of that base color and get it all blended. Okay, It's a very easy process. It makes such a fun, cool background. Look at that. That is just an amazing background. I absolutely love it. So that's how I got my background done. It is incredibly easy. You don't have to work super hard. You've got all 3 paints loaded on there. So it just depends on where you're giving pressure on the roller. This side, this side, or in the middle. And you can gently blend just by releasing the pressure on the roller and softly blending them. So very, very easy to do, you guys. So do I have any questions on the background? Hello, Sharita from Tulsa. And Holly. Oh, Holly, you're both on YouTube and Facebook. Look at you, girl. Okay, any questions on the background? Okay, so I don't want the paint to dry in my roller, so I'm going to drop it into my water, push it down in there, make sure that that roller fills up with water so that I can go clean it later. Normally, I would go straight to my sink and clean that and while the background is drying, so when I come back, I can just start working on my design. So I'm going to set this over here. And you just want to keep your sponges clean and free of paint. So Facebook kept saying my video ended. Well, I have Facebook up on this screen and Facebook up on this screen, and I'm feeding to YouTube here, so I know Facebook is working. So that's weird. That is weird. Andrea, I love the background. One easy way to do it. I think I might be able to do it. I think you can. If you've got some pieces of cardboard, you've got a box of something that you just emptied, all I do is I cut the backs, I cut the big sides out, and I use them to practice things on, or demo on. So, if you've got some of that, just play around with it and use it, and use it for just practice, and then once you get it down, you're ready to go right to your main surface and do it. But this is such an incredibly easy technique for a background, and so fun, and just makes a gorgeous, gorgeous background. And to me, that perfect Perry looks purple to me, but it is actually a blue color. I think if I'd have used a purple would have been a little bit too bright on here. But I think it turned out great. All right, I'm going to set that aside because I want to talk a little bit about this surface right here. Okay, so I've got my background done and I put my line drawing on. So if you're going to paint in the flower, your flower and your petals all need to be undercoated with white. I did 2 coats. You can put the line drawing on, and if you're going to do a solid color, just paint around it. I like having my background look like it's part of the painting, so I tend to paint all of my background, put my line drawing on, and if I have to undercoat my areas with white, I'm okay with that, because the more that you prep for your top layers of paint, the better your painting is going to look. So I've prepped with my background, I've prepped with my white underneath my yellow, and so now I'm ready to paint. But if you are painting the flower, instead of using paper, you do want to paint this area in as well with 2 coats of white. Depending on what color you end up using in your background, you may have to put 3 coats of white on there. If you're using a high quality white paint, like Traditions white paint, 2 coats will be plenty. Okay, so I'm going to paint this one in for you. I've already painted these 4 in with 2 coats of my yellow mix, and this one only has 1 coat, so I'll be applying a 2nd coat on it. This mix is an equal mix, I believe, of Sunny Day. Let's see if I wrote that down. Sunny Day and white. 1 to 1. Sunny Day and white. So I want to get this one painted and the second coat on this one before I adhere my flower on. Okay, so let me do that before we move on any farther. So I'm going to grab my Sunny Day, and I am using Traditions White on mine. Perfect Perry, similar to Periwinkle. Yes, it is. If you have Periwinkle, which Deco Art used to have that color, but they don't have that color anymore. It is very close to Periwinkle. It is a Periwinkle color, that's for sure. Okay. All right, let's get this painted in, then we can work on our paper part. Okay, so it's just an equal mix, 1 to 1. Undercoated first with white. Mix a little bit more so I can load more in my brush here. I was going to use the Sunny Day by itself, but I wanted these petals to be a little bit on the brighter side. So I've already put my flower on here and kind of drew where the edge of it needed to be so I would know how far up to bring this particular petal. This petal right here, because it kind of comes up over that. And then when you're doing your yellow, you want to bring it in. Just, you know, on your second coat, just kind of dry brush some in there. That way when you put this on, you won't have any like blue areas that are showing around it. You want to make sure there's nothing around. I mean, you could go paint all that in with yellow if you want, but why waste the paint? You just need to dry brush it in there. Bring it in just a little bit. All right, 1 to 2. My original one was on a regular canvas. It's an 8x8 canvas, but this is a canvas panel that I'm painting on. And I will go up on my easel after I get the stamping and everything done on it. Alright, there's the first coat on there. And this one I did not put a second coat on. You can kind of see some of the background through it right there. So I'm going to put a quick second coat on that for you. Just that equal mix. And really here we just need kind of a wash of color to fill in. I feel like this canvas is really dragging my brush. Okay, just kind of wash it in there. I really don't want to get outside of my background. Okay, I'm going to dry that so I can get a second coat on it real quick because we can't move on to the flower until that's done and dry. See that spot right there? That's because I flung water. I'm terrible about flinging water, I'm telling you. And my water basin's way over there. So I don't know how I'm flinging water clear over here. And it's still wet, so I'm going to try not to paint over that drop. I really just want this to be a wash of color here. I'm going to paint around that drop because if I go over it, it's just going to remove the paint that's there. Okay, let me see if I can dry that. I need that spot to get dry. Okay, looks dry now. I put a little bit of paint over that. I want to make sure it's cool before I apply my paint after using the heat tool because it's going to heat set the paint immediately, so the paint's going to go on and it's immediately going to dry. So I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to move my paint a little bit. So there we go. We got that spot taken care of. Okay. I'm actually going to put a little bit in here where the base of my flower comes in. I just drew myself some lines kind of to guide myself up when I put my paper on. So let's get this dry and then we'll do the paper. And then while the paper is drying, I'm going to go over some other supplies that if you're going to do the background like me, that you will need. Okay? So our paper here, we're going to be using, I'm going to be using matte decoupage medium. You want it to be a matte, flat, whatever. No kind of shine in it at all. So you don't want satin or semi-gloss or whatever they come in. You want matte or anything that is a flat. Okay? The reason you don't want anything with shine in it, we're going to be painting on this paper. And if we have anything with shine on it, it's going to make the paint resist a little bit instead of painting on it like we're painting directly on a surface. So we need it as flat as it can be. Hello, Charlene. I'm glad you're here. It's okay if you're late. It's okay. Well, goodness gracious. I always try to clean these tops of these jars before I put my lid back on them. So I'm not really sure why that strung out like that. Alright, I'm going to grab a bigger brush here. I'm going to dampen it, but I want to get all the moisture out of it. I'll move my paper towels over here where you can see them. Okay, I've got some glue on that already. Kind of get that off. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. This is how I do it. Now I'm sure other artists do it different ways, but this is the way that I have always done it for years and years. It works good for me. If you have another way that works best for you, that's okay. You just do it however works best for you. Okay? I'm going to go to my surface and apply some glue in here. It's okay if it comes out past it. This will dry a matte color. And then I'm going to take my paper. I don't want to lay my painting in that, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to position it where I want it. Make sure you've got it where you want it, because when you start pushing it down, it is going to stick. Alright, that's where I put it, so that's where it's going to live. That's going to be its happy place. I'm really going to push that down with my fingers. Once it dries, if we didn't get enough glue on the edges, we can come back and tuck some glue underneath it. So it's not a big deal. Alright, so I'm just kind of burnishing that to make sure the glue on the back of the paper and the glue on the surface are coming happy together. And then I'm going to put some glue on top of the paper. Now, if you have traced your pattern lines onto the top of the paper, you'll want to erase on the outer edges before you put this on here. See, I didn't erase my lines down here, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to cover those up. So if you want to have your lines completely covered up, then make sure that you erase them. You don't need to erase this one because you need that line. But the ones where you cut out, if you didn't cut out directly on that line, you'll want to erase those. Alright, I'm cleaning up the edge of my bottle here because I don't want my lid to stick to my jar. And I don't want any stringy stuff when I open it next time like it did this time. Okay, we're done with that. This just has to dry, and it won't take very long. Might give it a quick dry with the blow dryer. It's okay if you get out past, you get in your flower, you get in your background. It will dry to a matte finish, okay? So I'm just cleaning the glue out of this brush. It's just an old brush. I always use an old brush when I'm using my glue because I don't want to ruin my brush if I accidentally dry some glue in there. Alrighty. I'm going to try this real quick. Karen, I want to thank you for having the split screen to show how you load your brush and mix your paint. This is so helpful for new painters like myself. Well, you're very welcome. I think it's very important to see how the teacher loads her brush. I mean, you may develop a completely different style and technique of loading your brush, but if you're new, you can see how I do it, and then you can go practice and everything. So, all right, so this is dry right here. So now we're ready to work on the fun stuff in the background. I'm going to go glue this down after class today because I want mine to have the paper look instead of the painted look. Let me give you the colors you'll be using here. Well, I'll give it to you when we start painting because it doesn't have to be painted in right away. All right, so on the background I did stamping and stenciling. Now when I do a mixed media piece, I love doing really cool stuff in the background. To me, it doesn't take away from the flower itself. I think it just adds to it. It gives it more of that mixed media feel. So doing this stuff in the background, totally optional, but I think it completely makes the painting. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is stamping on the background. Okay, I'm going to stamp over my petals and everything. Now this we could have waited to glue on until after the stamping, so I'm going to try to avoid that a little bit. If you've got your flower, if you're painting your flower on, you definitely want to put some stamping on it. So you know, this step, the gluing on, could wait till after you do the stamping. It doesn't have to wait till after the stenciling because the stenciling is very easy to avoid these areas. But with stamping, if you're worried you'll get some on there, I'm not worried. If I get some on there, to me it's just added extra in there. Okay, so you can use any kind of word stencil that you want, or really any kind of stencil, but I'm going to show you a few that I have. Let me wide angle out so you can see these a little bit better. So these are stamps that I have left over on my website from Stampendous. Stampendous is no longer. Another company bought them out, and they are planning on doing some of the line that Stampendous had, but I don't know which ones yet. I haven't gone on there to see about ordering from them yet. So I have one of this one left. Which is fun because it's got the postage part on it. It's got some music notes on it. Let me lift that up so you can see it a little bit better. And it's got all different kinds of writing. This one is the Slim Signature Script. So I've got one. These are stamps you can't get anymore. So if you're interested in any of them, go check them out. I have two of this one left. This is the one I'm going to be using today. It's what I used on that one. This one is the Slim Vintage Post Stamp. I like how big they are because if I just wanted to use the center, I'm just going to be using one end of it, but if I wanted to use a certain part of this, it's nice and big, so I could pick out what I wanted to use on it. This is another one. I only have one left. This is the Posted Script. I've used this one a lot. I really like this one. It again has some of the postage type stuff on it and writing. I love that little thing on there. I think that is so really cool. But you can use any kind of word stamp. This is an older Stampendous one. Just some handwriting, and then this is some kind of writing. I'm pretty sure this one discontinued, but if you were lucky to get one of these when I had them, or I think Sandy McTeer had them, then you might want to use that one. So I'm going to be using that longer one. Now I wanted to bring in and show you the paper that I used. This is from Hobby Lobby. It's just their music paper that they have there. They do, well, when I bought this, it's been a while, a few months, but I'm pretty sure last time I was in there they still had this. You know, because they rotate out papers so frequently. But some of the more ones that are used more, they kind of hang on to those a little bit longer. But I think they had one with a white background, but I loved this toned background, and I thought it was perfect for this painting. So I just wanted to let you know where I got my paper. Okay, we are going to be doing, that glue's dry enough for me to lay this on here. We're going to be doing or using stays on ink. Okay, stays on. I'm using jet black, but if you have a brown would be good. Okay, let me get this out of here. All the stamps come with this plastic cover to protect your stamp. So that's nice. I never throw those away because I keep my stamps in their wrapper. I don't want my stamp to be damaged. I don't want it to get stuck to something else and mess it up. I mean, you know, that's an expense sometimes with stamps, and so you want to keep them as good as you can. All right, so I am going to you can see I just used this end of it when I did it last time. I had never used this one before. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to stamp down here. That stamp pad doesn't feel like it has much ink. Let me check this one out. I filled one of these up the other day. I probably should have done both. Oh yeah, that's got lots of ink. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it on here. I don't want complete coverage on my, when I stamp it. I want it to just kiss some ink on there, you know? So if you think you got too much, you can stamp over here on some paper. I do not have too much. So I'm just going to go around and stamp until I can't stamp anymore. And then I'm going to ink back up again. Just a little bit. I don't want to go overboard. If I feel like I've gone overboard, stamp on the paper. Okay. And just go around your whole thing. If you're painting the flower, you definitely want to go on the flower as well. Okay? Okay, and just put as little or as much on there as you want. So cool. All right, so we're done with the stamp. I'm just going to take a baby wipe and remove any ink that's sitting on top of this. I didn't use a lot of ink, so it should be good. We'll set that aside. And now we're going to stencil. So the two stencils I'm going to be using is my swirl stencil and my circle stencil. So I put a few little circles in the background. I mixed shoreline and white, I think. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to do those little circles, just random circles. And I only used two sizes on there. I used this small size down here, 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. So, and I do sell, I think it's a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch on my website by themselves. I know I sell 3/4 inch. So, and then this is also on my website. So you can find those there. I'm just going to use this same paper plate that I used earlier and put some shoreline and a little bit of white. My stencil brush, I'm going to take my shoreline and my white, blend them together. And my brush, and then I'm going to remove that paint. Now when I go to paint it, if it's too bright, I can add more blue. If it's too dark, I can add more white. So it's really up to you. So I'm just going to very lightly. I just want these to be so light and almost, you don't even think about them when they're there, because you know they're just background stuff. It all pushes to the background. I think sometimes when we're painting the background, you know, some things can really pop out and you're like, oh, I'm not going to like that. But just keep going, because once you start, you know, doing more and more for the main focal thing, it all comes forward. It all comes forward. Okay, so just a little bit. And now on a couple of these, I did try to add some of that Victorian blue. I didn't really like them after I did it, so I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm going to keep this one just this light color and just pop some in around here and there. You know, not a lot. I didn't do a whole lot of this. I just did, you know, I think I only loaded my stencil brush once for doing these circles, so it's just a fun thing. I'm not trying to create a bokeh effect like I normally do when I'm using a circle stencil. I'm just trying to put some funness in the background. So if I was making a bokeh effect, I would be overlapping circles and doing stuff like that. So over here, I've kind of let my paint run out, so it's not going to show up as much over here, which is good. I don't want it to be bright over here. Okay, that's good enough for circles for me. I like that. That looks really good. So now I'm going to take my swirl one, and we're going to do that same mix, that blue and white. And offload. I won't have to offload as much because I've got more area to cover. So I'm just going to randomly put some in here, just kind of a hit and miss. I don't want solid coverage here, just do a few in the background. And some of them will pop more than others, which is fine. Just have some fun with it and put some swirly stuff. I think I need to put a little bit darker in here. And maybe up here. A little bit brighter. We do want to see it, so if you're not seeing it, then you know, put it back in there and add some. So I'm just pushing a little bit harder with my stencil brush now, so that because I'm running out of paint and I just want to have some fun stuff on here. Just pieces and parts of this stencil. I might have to reload because I feel like I'm really running out of paint now. Load it up, offload it. And I won't give as much pressure because I know it's going to come off brighter. And let's see, maybe this one here. I'm going to put a little piece of one over here. I really like for my stencils to come off of the edge and create that like they're coming off and doing something really cool. Okay, let's get... Alright, I think that looks pretty good for my background. I like it. I'm happy with it. I'm going to call that a done background. I'm done with my stencil brush. So we're getting ready to paint on the flower now. Let me rinse this stencil brush out because I don't want any paint to set in here. See if I have any questions. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad you're here. Hello, Mickey from Georgia. How's the weather there? I don't know if you're getting this rain too or not. All right, I'll move this out of the way. Grab my easel so we all can see it much better. Much better. All right, first thing I want to do is paint a coat on my stem because I did forget to do that. So I believe it's mistletoe. I should double check and make sure. My stem, I'm sure that's in my instructions. Mistletoe is the only green I have out here, so I would say that's the color I need to use. So if you're painting a canvas like my other one, where it has edges, you'll want to take your flowers and everything off of the edge of the canvas. Make sure I don't have paint on my hands. So like this petal comes over a little bit and this one comes over. My stem comes over. Now I could have brought my stem down this way as well, but I took it over that way. This one comes over a little bit and that one just kisses over the edge. I think keeping it off center where some of it goes over the edge a little bit is more interesting. Starting to warm up and sunny today. Oh, lucky you. Lucky you to have sunshine today. Okay, so on our flower here, on the petals, we're going to work on the petals. Now I just stuck my hand in the green paint. If you cannot determine where a petal is, where it lays over another petal, you could take a pencil. A watercolor pencil would be great in a yellow color. I can see where all of mine go, so I'm not too worried about it. And we do have a fold on this one, so you probably can't even see those lines that I just put in there. But a watercolor pencil would be good. You could use it in like a little bit darker yellow than what you're using here. And then when you paint, that will absorb into the paint and look very nice. Okay, we're going to shade on our petals with saffron. Yes, saffron. Put some more water on my palette, because I'm going to be floating, so I need my... Alright, I've got a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 inch angle. I think I'm going to start with the 1/2 inch. Okay. Zoom in just a little bit here. Hopefully I won't get you off camera. Y'all start screaming if I get you off camera. Alright, I'm corner loading on my flat brush, or angle brush, my 1/2 inch angle. If there's anybody that needs me to go over instructions for loading for a float, I'm happy to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to start with this petal and go around my flower here. And next to this one. And I'm going to put a little bit out here. Just kiss a little bit of that color out there. I love this color. This saffron color is absolutely gorgeous. And I haven't used it a whole lot. I've had this color of paint forever, and I haven't used it a whole lot, but I think it's gorgeous on this flower. Alright, we're going to go here. Now, if you paint on paper and you don't put any kind of decoupage on it. Like this one, I didn't put any decoupage on when I painted it. I just cut it out and painted it. Paper is not forgiving. So if you get paint somewhere you don't like it, it's just going to be there. So, you know, if you're painting on a piece that you haven't adhered to something yet, I would highly suggest that you put a coat of that matte decoupage on it. Alright, pick up water, pick up paint, blend, blend, blend. I'm going to try and copy my original one so I can, you know, keep it close to the same. I do plan on selling some of my paintings on my website sometime. I have quite a collection of duplicate things that I do not need to have. So, and if you are fortunate enough to come to a class at a convention with me, I always draw somebody's name that gets to take my painted piece home, because I do not want to take it home. I got so much stuff, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm going to bring this out a little bit more into this petal, just a little bit. Let's see, up here I did just a little bit here on this edge, and I also put a little bit down here, because that's a lot of area to try and highlight, so we're going to try not to have to highlight a whole lot. Alright, Water and paint, blend, blend, blend. Now when you go to your surface and paint, if it feels too wet, touch your paper towel and just let it wick out some moisture. You don't have to wipe your paper towel, just touch it. It will wick that moisture out. So I'm walking out here. Last week I showed about walking out, so if anyone needs me to show them that, let me know. Kind of walking out into that flower. I'm going to put a little bit up here. If I had an edge of a canvas, it would go over the edge, and I would bring that over the edge a little bit. Okay, so let me look at this one. This one goes to about there, and then it is under this one. Need more water. Definitely need more water. I miss my palette altogether. Spritzing my water. It's all over my desktop. Okay, so I kind of want to walk this up a little bit. And bring it over just a scooch. Alright, so this is all going to be kind of dark in here. So I'm just going to take the corner of this brush and go right up to that line for that petal and work it around the flower here. Water is your friend when you're floating, but it can also be your enemy, so just make sure you don't have too much. And it's a fine line, however much paint you have in your brush and water, blend them. And okay, there's our first layer on there. Oh, it's looking so good already. So good. Okay, I want to do that a second time, but this time I'm not going to do it everywhere. I'm just going to find my darkest areas. So like when I went around the flower here, my darkest areas are going to be where those little V's kind of go in there. This will be a darker area. We'll have a little bit darker here. So you just want to find those dark areas and put another little layer in there. We don't really need it everywhere. So this is going to be darker right here because that's really tucked behind that. And then inside these little loopy things here, those are going to be some darker areas. And I'll put a little bit right there, just in the center, right there. I didn't go from end to end. I just went right there in the center. Okay. This is going to be darker here because it's folded. So we'll put a little bit in there. If that's not very dark, you can put some more in there. I'm going to put a little bit right here where this one is really over. Okay, and a little bit here. Right here. Just some little darker places. Okay, this one's going to be darker next to the flower. And then out here, we're going to have a little bit darker. So I'm just creating those very few darker areas. And here, this will definitely be darker because it's got the flower and that other petal kind of on top of it. And then we'll do our little loopy things right through here. And right in there. Okay, so while I have the paint on this brush, I want to create just a few little lines. Now you could grab a small round and do that, but I'm just going to use the chisel edge of this brush and just pull 1, 2, 3, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just put a few in there. You know, if you can keep them following the shape of that petal, that's going to be helpful. Try not to make them all the same length either, because that's going to be very helpful. Just a couple in that one. And then I did do tried to do a couple in this one. I don't know that you're going to see them. And then this one over here can have just a couple. I want them to be all the same length, so try not to make them all the same length. Ooh, looking good, looking good. So we just have one more step on our petals. I'm going to quickly add a second coat on my stem here though, so it can be drying. I stuck my hand in it and removed quite a bit of the paint off of it. Okay, those are looking good. Okay, let's highlight with white. And this will be done the same way. We're going to do our highlight areas and we're going to go back and just kiss some in some brighter areas. Hello, Jan from Connecticut. How's your weather out there? Up there, I guess. It would be up there from me. So a couple little bright places there, and this will be right here. Now, when you're floating, you lay your brush flat. You've got that water and the paint. They're happy together. They're meeting. They're together. They love each other. So, laying your brush flat, you're going to get those soft, soft, smooth floats. Down there. I'm going to have to bring that shading over a little bit because that kind of bugs me right there. Probably doesn't bug you, but it bugs me. Okay. Let's go here. And I did not walk that out very much, just kept it kind of tight in there. Now I'm using the Traditions white, like I said earlier, so it's not going to kind of fade down in there as much as the Americana paint will. I load for almost every float because, you know, you're using up all your paint and water out of your brush. So okay, we'll come back and put some highlight lines in here. Today your weather is as sunny as my daffodil. Well, you are lucky. You're cloudy and rainy and nasty and cold here today. Just not a pleasant day. Okay, before I do the second float, I want to make sure that they get dry. So I'm going to come in here and just put a little bit of highlight, maybe next to some of those little lines that I put in here. Just using the tip of this brush, but you can go to a round brush. Don't feel like you have to use this big old brush that I'm using. I'm just letting the tip slide down it, just like I did when I put that other line in there. Okay, just gives it a little kiss of a highlight. Alright, so I'm going to go back and do my highlight a second time. Again, this is just in a few places, so maybe there it's, you know, just pick a couple places. And this will go very quick because you're not doing that same highlight that you just did. You're just maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, wherever. Okay, that should finish up the petals, except I need to fix that right there. That really bugs me. I mean, I'm sure it's a It's folded over just fine, but it needs a little bit more shape. I feel like it needed a little bit more shape, so it got a little bit more shape. Okay, we're gonna move to the paper now. Mine seems to be stuck pretty well. So if you're going to do the painting, let me give you that mix because it's not on the line drawing. The top of the flower is a mix of burnt orange and sunny day. 2 burnt orange, 1 sunny day. That's what the top is based in. Okay? The rest of it we're going to be painting the exact same way on the paper. It's just the paper's not going to have base coats on it. Okay? And the bottom is base coated in bright orange. Okay? 2 bright orange, 1 sunny day mix, just bright orange. Okay? All right. So I kind of wrote down some instructions of how I did this. We'll see if I can get it even remotely close. So I'm going to put my oranges out. And I'm going to put a little bit of Victorian blue because it's actually going to be the color that I'm going to be darkening my orange with. Hi, Sue from Ontario. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that out. We don't need a lot. All right. I'm going to, well, let me draw a line on here because that will probably help you a little bit because we're going to have a center. I can't see that. I'm not sure any of these will write on this paper because it's got that finish on it. So it's just a little like straight smile. You know what I mean? It's just a slight little smile that goes right in there. Okay, on the bottom, I think I'll start on the bottom. I'm going to use Cad Orange. That's my darker orange, whatever color you pick. Your flower can be all yellow. I just didn't want mine to be all yellow. So I'm going to shade with this cadmium orange all the way around. Okay. That will have to dry. On the upper one, I'm going to do, I'm going to need to wipe my brush out. 2 of this color, 2 of the lighter, and 1 of the darker. And I'm going to start my little smile line thing here. Put that in. However you want it to look. I mean, you can transfer your lines on here. You can actually put graphite on top of this and transfer your lines. I just didn't because I didn't really need the graphite line for a smile, and I have these lines over here already. So now I'm going to take this color and I'm going to go in the part that curves down. And I'm going to create a little float, and I might want to move to my smaller angle brush for this, and I'm just going to kind of, you know, let it come down into there a little bit. I'm definitely going to go to my smaller one. I think that will be easier. 2-to-1 mix here. And all these little U's. And just kind of bring it down. Let it kind of fade away. You know, that's where the flower is folding over and it's getting its little shadow. Some of these won't be very big. And we'll do these a second time, not just once. The good thing about having the matte medium on here, If you get something on your paper you don't like, it's so easy to remove it with a baby wipe. Not making these too dark to start with, because, you know, I'm a big believer that your first layer doesn't need to be very dark. We can come back and darken it. If we get it too dark to begin with, oh, we're going to be so sad, because that just means we have to work harder, or we have to put our base coat back on and start all over. So, doesn't mean the painting can't be fixed, just means it's going to require a little bit more work. Well, hello, sis. My sister from another mother in Texas. I can't wait for us to come out and see you. I'm so excited. Alright. These won't be walked as far because this is our highlight area here. So just go in those curved places. You're making a little smile or backwards U, however you want to interpret it in your mind. Okay, don't want that connect there. I do want to make this bigger. So I'm going to put a little bit more in there and just kind of bring that up. I'm almost scrubbing it on there. Bring it up a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to go back down to this one and get some more on it. So once you start adding more layers, the paper is really going to I don't know, it just paints beautifully. I just love it. I'm back to my big brush here though, because this is a much bigger area. I want to make sure I don't want to fill up the whole area. I still want to see that paper in the middle. But I want it to look orange, you know? We're going to wash over it with some orange later. Okay, I'm going to keep this big brush and just put a little bit more of this darker orange in here. Alright, I want to go back and do those a second time. I'm going to mix my oranges. Now you can do the 2 and the 1, or this time you can just do the equal mix. Either way, it's going to be just fine. We just want to make sure they're darkest up here at the top. So that's really kind of where I'm concentrating this second time around, is making sure that little U right there, that reverse U, is dark. Well, it's coming together. There's really not a lot of steps on the flower, to be honest with you. It's a pretty easy little flower to make. Okay, I'm not going to do anything more to that. I really want that to get dry, but we can start working on the little highlights on the humps out here. And I'm going to do, see, I think I did an equal mix. Yes, White and Sunny Day, which is the base coat that we put on our petals. Okay, we're going to go on the outer edge. This is going to look bright on this paper. And we're just going to start making these look a little bit higher. It's an equal mix. like to take that water edge and make sure it's not on my orange. It should look slightly yellow. Yeah, it does look a little yellow on the camera. So again, now this is more of a C stroke here because we're going the opposite direction that we did with the orange. One yellow, one white. Blend, blend, blend. If I get on my orange, I'll just come back and touch it up, so don't worry about that. So with the scrapbooking paper, you can use just about any scrapbooking paper that you want to use. It doesn't have to be this particular one. There's so many options out there. And I've used scrapbooking paper a lot in my projects. I was doing it quite a bit for a while, so I decided to cut back and not do as much, but I've used it for my background and, certain elements. I've done ornaments with scrapbooking paper, so I'm just creating the little bit of highlight here. Okay, that was our first layer on there. We're going to wash over this in just a minute, and we're going to wash over the flower. But I want to get another quick layer of that yellow and white mix. Brighten up that edge. Keeping this more on the outer edge now. I'm not pulling it down as far as I pulled the first one. Just like when I did the orange, I kept it a little bit more towards that outer edge. And technically with daffodils, when their edges are all folded and stuff, when you actually look at one, they're more pointed. The folds look more pointed. So if you like that look, you can certainly adjust your flower to make it look more pointy. Okay, did I go all the way around? I don't know if I went all the way around or not. I think I did. Oh, I don't know, those don't look very bright over there. Yep, I think I painted that one because the paint wanted to lift, it wasn't dry. Okay, get a little bit more. Just a tiny bit of that yellow there, and we'll go through here again. Create our little highlight right there. Okay, before I go down and do more on this, I want to create a few little stamens things coming out of there. I'm sure I did not paint this exactly as it's supposed to be. Is it titanium white or warm white? It's titanium white, but I'm using the Traditions brand. It would still be titanium white in Americana, so whatever brand you're using, titanium white or a good opaque white. So I'm just going to use a dark orange here and put some in here, maybe. Try not to let them get ginormous. Those are getting kind of fat there. And just put just a few little lines in there. Okay, nothing big, nothing big. Okay, I want to darken on this one, so I'm going to take my orange and mix a little bit of blue, and that's going to give me almost a burnt orange right there. Just a little bit of blue. And let's put this in the dark areas, like those little curved places. And this is a little, definitely go to a smaller brush here. I'm using a ginormous brush for this. Those little V areas where I always tell you that's the darkest places. Those areas need to have that little bit of shadow. Okay, so I'm going to wash over the center of this with that lighter orange. Now this is just a wash. That means it's mostly water with just a little bit of paint in it. And I'm going to wash. I don't really want to lose that tone in the paper, but I want it to start looking a little bit more orange. I'm also going to wash up here. Let's see if I say what color I washed it with. Bright orange. That's this one. I wrote in my little notes here that I washed this one with that darker orange, so I may come back and wash that one. Okay, so we're going to wash this over our flower up here. Stay out of your lighter areas unless you want to go up and give them a little bit of a kiss of orange. This is such a sheer color of orange that I've got here. Okay, a little wash of orange. I'm going to do what my little notes say and make a wash of this one. That darker orange. Mostly water. And I'm going to put that down here. Okay, that makes that look a little bit better. So I need to darken in the center here. We did that with the orange and the blue mixed together. If it's too blue, add more orange. And we want to darken right in here. I think I need a little bit more on my brush. Just right here. Okay, where it's way down in inside the flower. I think I'm going to wash over this one more time with that bright orange before we do our final highlights here. So I want that to get dry. I got a smaller brush this time. Bigger brush will do the job a little bit better, a little bit quicker. So we'll wash. These are the same steps you'll use if you painted it, okay? Same steps. All right, let's put some little white dots on our stamen here, or whatever these things are in the center. Teeny tiny. You can get a little fine detail brush to do that. I feel like my dark shading needs to be a little bit darker. A little bit more of that blue in there. Just a little bit more. I didn't feel like that was like, it just wasn't making me happy. So there you go. That makes me a little bit happier. Okay, and you can wash over your flower petal as many times as the flower as many times as you want. Burnt orange down here and bright orange up here. So I just want to do a final highlight on here with just some white. So I'm going to go with some white right through here. I'm not sure my orange was completely dry. Do want to make sure this is dry, because if it's not dry, my white's just going to turn orange. So and I'm going to just dab a little white highlight in here. Just kind of pity pat it, tap it, use your finger. I always use my fingers to soften and blend out, and that's not very bright, so let's get some more. Dab it in there, tap, 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 dab, dab, dab. Dab with your finger, kind of softens it out and blends it out a little bit. You can do that as many times as you want. Up here, I'm going to just dry brush a little bit of highlight, and oh, okay, I have a lot of white paint on my finger, and then just tap it out, and then you can put a little kiss of a highlight through there. And that should finish this one. You can go back and highlight and deepen and continue to add more and more color on there if you want, if you feel like it needs it. But I think it turned out pretty darn good. Some easy steps to getting that. I loved the toned paper. I just feel like it just made this flower just look so good. All right. Let me move some stuff out of the way here, and I will bring in my other one, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing for next week and the week after. So let's get the original one in here. Make sure I don't have any questions. Hello, Mary from gloomy Golden Valley, Arizona. I'm sorry it's gloomy. I know how you feel. I know how you feel. Okay, let's go in just a little bit. All right, so let me put my paper down. They look pretty close. I do need to brighten my highlight there a little bit more. And maybe another wash of bright orange on there, because this one looks a little bit brighter, like I did a little bit more paint in the wash there. So this one just needs its highlight a little brighter. But they look good. I love them. I love them. So, and then there's the painted one. Again, I wanted to show you that one. If you get the line drawing, it has the picture of this one as well as the picture of this one. So if you wanted to paint it, you would have a reference photo to go from. So do I have any questions on this painting we did today? The super fun painting? No? And there was one color that I listed in the list that I did not use, and I don't remember actually. I think I tried using it in my original one, but I didn't. And that was primary yellow. So you can either take it off the list, or you can try mixing it maybe a little bit with your orange that you wash in here. Give it a yellowy orange color. Whatever. I don't know why I left it on the list, but it seems like last week I had a color on there I didn't use. So, oh, I didn't finish out the stem. Oh my gosh, the stem needs to be done. Okay, well, let's do the stem real quick, because you need to know how to do the stem. Okay, so I'm going to take my green, and what did I mix blue with it? Let me find my little cheat sheet here. I mixed some cad orange in there and got this really dark green. I already took my palette cam off. So I did my green and cad orange. So cad orange and green. And that just darkens up my green. Okay? Makes it a nice dark green. Alright, we're going to shade this color next to the flower and down this edge right here. Okay, you'll probably want to repeat that. Oh, I put blue in there instead of orange. That's okay. Let me dry that. I don't want to lift it off. So you don't necessarily need black or some other color. Generally, whatever colors you got that you're painting with, you can make those colors work. Okay, I'm gonna mix my darker yellow and my green and make a really bright green. This was saffron and leaf green. Not leaf green, mistletoe is that green. So I just mix them together. Make this kind of bright green here. And we'll put this on this side. So you can just see that little highlight on there. Might add a little bit more yellow in there, so you can see it a little bit better. There you go. And then I just did a final little highlight with, you can use white, or you can mix a little yellow in with the white, or a little green in with the white. This will probably mix with that yellow that's in there because it's not dry. A little white highlight on there. That's it. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot that. Okay, so now we're done. Now we're done. Now we can compare. Lovely. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Since I've got my paint still going here, I'm just going to Brighten that just a little bit. Okay, that helped. That helped. At least it helped me. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing next week, you guys. Let's set these over here out of the way. Let's see, what are we doing next week? Oh, we're doing the bag, which I've completely covered up here. Bag. Okay, making a big mess here. All right, so we're doing the bag next week, okay? You can do a white bag, a black bag, a cream colored bag, whatever color bag you want to do. If you do a black bag, if you do stenciling in the background, you're obviously going to want to use something besides black, because I stenciled in the background with black. This is my swirl stencil that I used today on my background. And this one I used a stencil that is from Sandy McTeer. So if you have that stencil, let's see if I have it. It's this one. You can use that. I think when I paint my bag next week, I'm probably going to use this because I want to mix it up. I want to change it up and let you know whatever stencil you have, you can use that stencil, okay? Don't feel like you have to go and buy a special stencil, okay? Although if you want to go buy my swirl stencil, I'm happy for you to buy it, okay? So we're going to be painting this. We will be doing some fabric glitter on it. You're going to want some fabric medium. You do not have to use fabric paint, but I will be using fabric paint. So, you know, you can use multi-surface paints. They paint beautifully on fabrics, but I'll be using the fabric paint, okay? And I'm going to be doing it on a toned bag. Probably this one here or this one. I really don't know which one I'm going to do yet. They're both really nice bags. They both came from Hobby Lobby. This one can hold a lot of art supplies. I'm telling you. Or if you have a grandchild, a niece, whatever, nephew, whatever that likes to craft, draw, color when they go somewhere. It's perfect little size to put some of those things in there. Even this bag is nice, and this bag. It just depends on what size you want to do. But for time restraints, next week I'm going to be doing one of these bags here. I did not wash my bags. It is recommended when you use fabric paints to wash your bags, but since these are not probably ever going to go in the washing machine, they're just going to be bags I carry things in, I'm not going to do that. Alright, so you'll need a piece of cardboard that will fit inside here. So cut one that will fit and go up to the zipper line, all the way down to the bottom, all the way to the bottom, all the way to the top, all the way to the outer edges, as close as you can get to all sides, okay? If you're doing a bag like this, you're only going to be able to go so far because the way the bottom is, okay? So if you just want to practice, I recommend getting a flat bag to practice. So a piece of cardboard, cover it with Glad Press and Seal. I've covered mine with Glad Press and Seal. You can cover it with plastic wrap and tape it on. You can cover it with a Walmart bag, Target bag, whatever kind of bag you have. Just as long as it's some kind of plastic over the cardboard. It keeps if the paint goes through, it keeps it from sticking to the cardboard, but the cardboard gives you the firmness for painting on, okay? I've never had the paint go through any of my fabric bags that I've ever painted on, or my pillow covers. It's a beautiful paint. So we're going to be doing that next week. A bag, you don't need a pattern or line drawing, so there won't be anything on my website for this, because it's just draw a 5-petal flower. And we're going to do that before we start painting with a pencil. So have a pencil for that, okay? You can use a watercolor pencil as well. I'm just going to use a regular pencil because that's what I used before. Okay, so let's see what we're doing the week after. The first week in April. Let me zoom in. Look at these cute little guys. My bunny doesn't seem very happy. I don't know. I just could not. I'm not an animal painter, you guys. I don't even know why I attempted these. I am not an animal painter, I tell you. And that bunny, I struggled with that bunny so much, and I thought it was going to be way easier than the duck. Duck was so easy. So this is now on my website. It's got 5 pages, I think. You have the line drawing for both of these, but I'm teaching this one. And there's also a photo of both of them in it. So the backgrounds both were done completely different, but I'll be showing you how I did this background, another different technique. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do this guy right here, April the 4th, 1 p.m. Central. So be sure and mark your calendars. These are 6x6 gallery wrapped canvases. Of course, your background can be any color that you want it to be. It does not have to be the color that I have chosen. So don't feel like you're stuck with that color. You know, it's your painting. You get to choose, okay? But we are going to be using the colors listed in the line drawing to paint this one. I did also list the colors that I used on the egg and the rabbit, but these are the ones we'll be using for this one. So, all right. So next week, the bag, and the week after, we're going to be doing this. So, thank you, Sue. Appreciate that. Sue Potts. You're welcome, Carrie. Thank you for being here. Okay, any questions about anything I did today or upcoming stuff? The bags, like I said, I got at Hobby Lobby, so feel free to use any type of fabric that you have. It doesn't have to be a bag. That's just what I'm going to be painting on. So thank you, Sharita. The bunny and the chickie are adorable. They're cute. I really struggled with that guy, but yeah, he's got the look on his face like, yeah, you struggled. Yeah, But I think my duck is super cute. So since I don't paint animals of any kind, that is not where my confidence lies. You know, I'd like to have some confidence in it, but it seems like every time I attempt one, you're painting an animal. Why are you painting an animal? Stop painting animals. I like to push myself to try new things, but every time I try to paint an animal, it's just like, stop. But we're going to paint this cute duck. I think he's cute. Now, you know, if you want to round his head and leave the top eggshell off, you can do that. Or maybe set that top eggshell behind. Lots of different ways you can do that. But super cute. I think, I'm not sure. The line drawing may have this top edge a little bit different. But it doesn't matter. It's just a broken eggshell. So it doesn't matter how it goes. Okay. Any questions, you guys? At all? If not, I am going to call this one a done day. Let me get me so I can make myself bigger. There we go. There I am. And my lights are putting all kinds of glare on. Oh, because I have extra light up above me today. So I think that's what's causing all my glaring issues. Yeah. It's like spotlight. Okay, any questions? Nothing from anyone? Yes, Sylvie, I did do a great job with my elephant painting. I really, really, really wanted to paint that so badly, and I was determined to do a really good job on it. I'm sure I didn't get to the finished project, you know, of the elephant the way that some artists would do. But I got there, and I think he just was a gorgeous elephant. So, yes, I love that one. Thank you for saying that. He was a good one. So, and I do have all kinds of animal drawings like drawn up, and I just keep jumping over them and going to something else because I'm like, I'm not ready to do that. I have this big, huge, round frame that I purchased many years ago with my sis Lynn, and I want to paint a horse to put in that frame so badly, but yeah, I'm a little scared to paint a horse. Anyway, all right, you guys, that's it for me today. I will see you guys all next Tuesday for the bag. Grab your bag, grab whatever paint you want to use, but you will need fabric medium. So make sure that you get some fabric medium. Coupon code below on YouTube that has the link to Deco Art and the coupon that you can use for 20% off one time until it's good until June 30th. So if you haven't ordered from Deco Art yet this year, use that code. Save yourself 20%. So, okay, everybody. I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful and blessed remainder of your day. And I hope if you're having horrible weather that it gets better soon. And have a blessed week, you guys. I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Bye-bye.